welcome. If you're in the chat, you see a poll, and in the poll you can answer when you have been the first time at Rise of AI. And I will show you later a little bit of pictures so you can remember if you're here the first time or have been here before. It is lovely to be here today. It's lovely to have you all in the stream. Over 1,500 people have registered. It's the biggest Rise of AI we have ever done in the amount of people joining us live. And we have roughly 12 people outside there, which are, most of them are all the speakers over the day here, and I thank them to be here, but today it's for you in the stream to watch it. I would like to review with you in the next 90 minutes, which I have on my countdown, where have we been in the last 10 years, where are we today, and where are we going to be in the next 10 years. I want that we have a nice summary that we're all on the same level, and I set the groundwork for all the speakers coming later today to go into depth for all the topics. I exclude all the AI winters, honestly, because I'm too young. I haven't experienced any AI winter before, but I spoke with a lot of people who have done it before, and they say it were the waves, and each time it was bigger. What I call today is we are in the renaissance of AI, because this wave of AI is the refurbishment of ideas which we have in the 70s and 60s and 80s, but combining it with the data power which we have, with an amount of data, processing powers, everything is coming together. This time, AI got significantly bigger than before. And I call it old ideas with new execution and new capital, because it is unprecedented how much capital is flowing into the AI market this time. And I personally started in roughly 2014. And in 2014, I read an interview with a guy who was called Ray Kurzweil. And I was like, man, this guy is pointing it down. He's summarizing it so beautiful, what I had a feeling for, everything is faster, it's more tech, everything is accelerating. I said, like, this guy, he's cool. And so I went into this rabbit hole of futurists, of utopia and everything. And I took out my science fiction books from my youth, and I was reading them again with a new perspective on the digital age. And 2014, I wanted to speak with more people, so I invited the Berlin futurists to Seabase. And Seabase, it's a hacker space. I would say 10 people, techno music in the background, LED noises. It reminds me a little bit to present date again, and we were 10 people. I also learned in this time, 2014, that capital is missing. A lot of ideas are out there in the market, and no one wanted to invest into AI. So I launched Asgard Capital, the first VC fund dedicated to AI, and I'm also very thankful to the people who supported me as an entrepreneur there, who are also here in the stage today. So, a year later, we met again under the topic, the singularity is close and the coexistence with machines. I would say 2015 were the radical ideas. We spoke about bio-narcissism. We spoke about encryption of thoughts. Most of the people in the audience were engineers, visionaries, researchers. And the main message in 2015 was, people, AI is coming. Please pay attention. This topic's important. AI will be there. And then it was faster. A year later, 2016, was the turning point in the AI industry, because AlphaGo played against Les Sedol. And this game, this Go game, was a little bit like Kasparov and chess 10 years or 20 years earlier. It was a game changer because finally people who didn't care about AI realized, oh, something is going to happen. It triggered China, which is hugely important because China is the major power pushing for AI. And the media started discussion. I got so many interviews, TV shows. Everyone wanted to talk about AI. What is AI? Why is this important? How this happened? When we increased in size a lot, we went for a full-day event this time. We had more founders. We had scouts there. We have innovators. And we have people like Hans Uskoreit speaking about strong intelligence at this time, who will speak later again. So we already had the long-term topics. And I would say 2016 was the year when we realized AI is real. It is there. And, well, if we're in the decade, the last step, 2017 to 2019, I would say AI became big business. And big business means in the crowd you can see that the percentage of wearing a suit increased significant. It was the year when some people who are speaking today too, or speaking tomorrow, told to me, Fabian, the crowd changed from researchers, innovators, to now it's the business people. Now it was about making money with AI. It became one of the biggest industries out there. I remember Charles-Euler Boyer, former CEO from Roland Berger, speaking 2 years about the next trillion-dollar company will be an AI company. If we look at this, digital companies are huge. It changed that we had way more CEOs, way more managers, more leaders, and we had students. We had a long list for scholarships for the students out there who wanted to join. It became international in this time. China, the Silicon Road Initiative, China wanted to do cooperations where delegations from Turkey, a whole class was coming to Turkey. Everyone wanted to do international business. I would say it was about creating awareness for AI and speaking about opportunities. But this was also the time when I say the hype maxed. The hype for AI changed. It's gone. And the reason is it became political. 2018, major countries at least had published their AI strategies. Germany very late and Europe very late, but starting with Japan and Singapore and China, the American under Obama, they all pushed for AI. And we all know when the politicians start doing something, it's not sexy anymore. It's starting to be regulatory, and this changed also in the energy. So, where are we today? Where is AI standing in 2020? And I would say AI is less dreaming, it is more work. It's for me, it's the energy changed in the AI industry. It became an industry, it became a real ecosystem, but it was less about visionary and radical ideas. I would say the last couple of years, the main question is, how can we execute this? How can we apply it? How can we run AI in a company? How does this work? How do I get more capital for this? It's also interesting that the discussion for jobs changed. Yes, 3 years ago, there was this Oxford paper saying, 50% of all jobs will be maybe replaced by AI. Today, no one is saying this anymore because we have said, it doesn't happen that fast. Quite opposite, I need more people to run my AI systems, and we need to educate more. So what we are going to see is the internet is breaking apart. And I say it's breaking apart in 3 blocks. I grew up with my first DOS computer and the internet was open, everything was accessible. But if you go to China, you see how the internet will be everywhere. It is blocked, it is just working for the ecosystem, and it's highly controlled outside. The Americans do it the same way, just the American way, in the imperialistic way. They replace their services everywhere they want, but Europe is doing its own thing. And we will see main 3 hubs for internet and therefore for AI with different regulations, different laws for data, and they will coexist. They will be maybe communicate with other, and then you have all the small players around. I'm very interested to see which will be like the tax haven for AI in 10 years, where everyone is doing its illegal stuff or this unregulated stuff, and we will see AI is coming like people do tax evasion currently. For companies in 2020, it means setting up processes, hiring the right talents, finding use cases, starting to execute. I don't see a lot of main companies being full AI yet, but I see a lot of experiments there, a lot of testing, a lot of prototyping. Startups, they are in the phase of growing, scaling. If I would say what they're missing, it's currently talent, number 1. They all miss talents in the technical part, and they all need sales talents. There's a huge demand for AI solutions out there. The bottleneck is fulfilling all the individual needs for all the industries. Researchers are today more important than ever because they have involved in building the ecosystems. For example, we have the Tensor Institute, newly, I think it's in Baden-Württemberg, Hessen, Rheinland-Pfalz, and it's researchers who are building it, who are building ecosystems, who start connecting. It's researchers who are sitting in all the commissions and talking about AI. And what I say in 2020, we have today is ecosystems. We have growing, stable ecosystems. We have clusters, we have institutes, we have a Cyber Valley, we have Berlin AI. It's interesting how many different players are involved. I'm in so many calls now about, hey, we need to cooperate and we need to do this. I think this is great. It's continue. Yes. So, I used the Corona time to have the virtual chats. And in the virtual chats, I had 18 in the last couple of months. Well, 100% virtual. I did them from my home. I figured out how the technique work, which is the base for today. And I had great conversations with different minds in the AI industries. And to sum it up, Outlook is great. If you're in the AI industry, stay in the AI industry. This is huge. Many, many opportunities, and this will continue. So much money is pouring into it. Just China, 130 billion. Germany, first 2 billion, another 3 billion there. European Union, 20 billion. So much money is going in. It will be a little bit painful, as usual, if you have public administration to give out money, but that means it will not dry up. It will continue to be big business and long-term budgets, and that's important for all of us. Second message, it's major technology. Nothing in the last couple of years changed my view that AI is the crucial technology for this century. And we all have to continue working with this. And then on the question, what's coming up next? I mean, what are the main points we need to discuss? What are the main points which are the challenge for the next 10 years? How will AI continue to impact society, business, daily life, and our health and money? And I coolly call it The Empire Strikes Back. And me being as a nerd, you have to excuse this or just enjoy it yourself. AI will continue to get political and bureaucratic. We will get the robot laws, but not like Asimov said they will come. It will be very dry AI laws out there. European Union is the forerunner on this. They have developed a strategy, a white paper published beginning of the year. End of this year, they will already have the Digital Service Act in place, and it was updated for AI regulation. We will have a deep talk later on the other stage for this, and I highly can recommend if you're interested in this. But what I want to say is AI will be regulated. And that means for you as a startup, for a researcher, for a company, everyone will have to look at this. And it will mean you have to get responsibilities, clarify the data, explain your models. That's why we have talks about explainability, for example, too, because you will have to prove what your model is doing and how you trained it, and you will have to take responsibility for it. I heard upside is, hey, insurances will happen, and you can now talk with insurance company to save, to secure this, but else it will get political. Good news there, politicians are fast. I mean, they needed 20 years to figure out, oh, there's a Facebook and there's a Google and we need to do something to do. They need 1 year to figure out AI is coming, we need laws for this. This is faster than ever, and I think this gives me also hope that our political system, our society can change in real time and adapt to this, and we don't need to wait another 20 years until we have the right laws in place. Another topic which will come up, I call it taxation. Something no one likes to talk, and me as a businessman, I don't like taxes. No one likes taxes, but it's important that we will speak about taxation. And I'm looking to one speaker in particular, maybe he will figure something out for next year, how we can automate tax AI. And I don't want to harm business. I just say we need to figure out how we can adapt the tax system to the new way how we generate values. If you look how much value per employee is generated at Facebook, it is like 10 times more than a Siemens is normally doing. And a Siemens is paying its taxes because labor costs and everything there, and they produce something. If it's virtual, you can tax it wherever you want to. So we will figure out how we tax it. My personal friend is, by the way, an export tax on data once it's leaving Europe. So it's not on the agenda, but it will be on the agenda for the next years, I'm very sure. And then what is the world in 2020 and 2030? I call it's digital sustainable. These are the two main trends which will be there for the next 10 years. It has to be digital and it has to be sustainable. And I also see a conflict there, because especially AI and digital takes a lot of heating, a lot of electricity costs. And we will need to figure out how we can use AI and digital to reduce heating, to reduce everything of waste and etc. And there will be conflict, but overall I think this is I mean, I want to have more events like this with plenty of space, good food, we all feel safe, not crowded together. This is sustainable and it's digital at the same time. We have a bottleneck for talents. Our education needs to be updated. We don't have enough people. We need to let more people come to the relevant spots from outside of the European Union. We could attract, by the way, more Americans, but it changed now. I think the exodus will stop. We have so many Americans in Berlin who didn't go to the US in the last times. We need more structure and process for this. And I also say, greed is not good. I think especially companies will figure out that optimizing on income and profit will not work. Users don't want this, your clients don't want this, the ecosystem doesn't want it, and you can learn a lot from the Mittelstand in Germany, which is running for decades because they have not optimized on earning money, but they have optimized on generating jobs, paying taxes, building great products, and have happy clients. I think this client service and this focus, this will increase. We also need to speak about what I call the digital society. And I really read a nice paper a week ago which was speaking about the fragmentation of society, the recoding of society. And what we will have is that over the next years we will have more conflict about privacy. How much privacy am I willing to away for more safety? How much control do I want to give government in China, social score system, or how much control do I want to give companies, knowing everything about us, or the state? We will have a social scoring system or social system monitoring us in real time. We have them in place in China, we have them in place in Singapore. I bet they will be in place here in Europe too. And we need to figure out processes how our ethical values will be represented, how you can fight in front of court to see into your data, what they have, etc. about you. By the way, a small note, someone did this lastly, and they got 200 pages printed out files. 200 pages printed out files. How much data Facebook has about you? 200 pages, just if you want to have your data. And we need to speak about education. We are not prepared, and Corona shows how terrible prepared, by the way, we are for current times. So last slide, outlook. I struggled in the last 2 years to see a bigger picture into AI. I remembered when in 2014 I was saying, AI is coming, it will change the world. And it did not the way I expected. Not as cool, not as sexy, but still big and still doing it. But it's way more, I would say, processes, lobbying, a lot of more convincing people to take care of this. However, if we work on AI, and all of us do this, you out there, you in the publicum, me, let's give AI a purpose. And I say the purpose of AI should always be serving humans. I say the purpose should be AI is always there for two things. So we all live longer and happier thanks to AI. And thank you for listening in and joining.
Well, thank you very much, Fabian. Thank you for your passion and for all the information. We do have a couple of questions from the audience, and I can only encourage the audience to ask even more questions. We have one which will be very interesting also, I think, for our next speaker, Hans, to answer. But I also want to get your perspective on this. Daniel, another Daniel, great name, asks, in light of huge developments in terms of AI, digitalization, automation, etc. in Asia, is Germany and Europe still competitive in high tech?
That is a very good question, Daniel, and everyone else. Thank you for asking this. Is Europe competitive? 2 years ago, I would say no. And Germany and Europe convinced me the last 12 months, yes, I see hope there. But not for us end consumers, it's for the industry. The whole industry 4.0, the B2B, this will not be solved by Chinese companies or Indian companies. This will be solved by European companies. First for regulation and second for trust. I'm pretty sure that if a Daimler or Volkswagen is starting to produce with robotics, they prefer to have a local team, local knowledge. They want this. And also because of the sales cycles. It takes forever to convince a corporate client to apply AI. You can't do this outside and you can't do it remotely. So I see hope, and I also see a stronger willingness to cooperate. But if it's about soccer, I would say it's currently halftime. It's 4-0 for the other side. We really have to pull it now. We really have to mean it to get something.
Right. Daniel also writes that the massive size and scale of the industries in China, for instance, seem like something that nobody, neither in Germany nor in the Silicon Valley, people truly understand. What is your take on this? I think you do understand it, right?
So Hans is speaking after me. He was living a year in China and working there. I was there a couple of times for visiting. China is immense. It's impressive. I mean, we have speakers today here who are met in China.
Right.
They really do it well, and they mean it. They do it big. And we only can compete if we do it smarter, more connected, and more working together. That's our only hope. If it's just about size, China and the whole of Asia will dominate this century.
Right.
We only can compete if we do it more intelligent and more innovative, and we start to work together.
But do we get it? I mean, do people who have not traveled to Beijing and have not looked at the AI campuses and companies, do they get like the scale that's happening over there?
So just as an example, almost every city has its own AI campus. And you go there, and I was in one, it was close to Shanghai. It was called Turing Town. And they have rebuilt a whole medieval city like Bamberg or Heidelberg, and everything is for you. You don't pay taxes for 10 years. You have your own kindergarten, your own school. You have everything for you. I mean, a lot of space. China attracts you with a lot of incentives. But the thing is, where do you want people to live? They want to live in Europe. Europe is a nice place to live, and I think this is our biggest strength, because here people have a lifestyle which is in a balance, it's good. But we need to get our ass kicking. I mean, Chinese people are motivated, they're eager, they are hungry, and we are not. Our bellies are full.
All right, so it's the motivation, and also we're probably a little bit stingy, right, with the investments.
Always. We're always stingy. But honestly, we have enough capital in Germany and in Europe.
Right.
We are rich enough, but the money is flowing risk adverse. And what is missing, either the government has to say, okay, I invest 2 billion, and I go into the first risk of building prototypes and research application until we can run them out, because this is a gap. And then private investor will take it over.
Right.
But our government, our tax money has to go into risk like DARPA in the United States. Americans are really good in investing into breakthrough innovation at the critical level when it needs the right push. And we in Europe needs to do it. We need to accept that tax money is wasted on innovation, because the whole society will benefit.
Right. Very interesting. There's another question by Peter. He asks, what phase is AI in? KW says that we are in an extensive implementation phase of AI solutions. Do you share this assessment?
Again, if we are
Right. So the general question is, what phase is AI in?
Yes.
And there is Mr. Lee who says that we are in an extensive implementation phase of AI solutions already.
Yes.
Do you share this assessment?
Yes. This is what I said with, we are less dreaming, it's more work. Now it's business. And business is not romantic. It's not, it's execution. And I'm a dreamer. I love to think a lot. And we are now in execution, but I would say 1% only. 99% of the potential execution has even not started. If we're thinking about so many processes who can be automated, so many great applications out there. I mean, check out tomorrow the AI solutions, or the whole day tomorrow. It's all about application and running business. There are so many great things out there, but it's a slow process, and this will take the next decade.
Right.
But also the discussion about strong AI, super intelligence, the warning by Elon Musk or the good Stephen Hawking, they all stopped. I mean, we had this discussion in a couple of years, and we realized, hey, AI is not that smart. I mean, cool, look at Siri, look at Amazon. It's cool what it can do, but it's not surprising me on an intelligence level. I think the danger with AI is in wrong processes, wrong data, biased systems. But currently the danger of AI is not it will take over the world and destroy humankind. This won't happen soon, not soon. Sorry to disappoint you.
And I sincerely believe that the proof is in the pudding. If strong AI would be possible, Elon Musk would have a company for it, right? So this might be an indicator when it's really happening.
Called OpenAI.
Right, okay. I'm not sure how strong that is. So there's another question by Daval, I hope I pronounced the name right. I'm a master's student and planning to do my master thesis next year with a topic of anti-AI technology. So I want to ask you, is it possible to build a technology which can control AI or help? I think that AI tech will not overcome humans. I think that's the idea.
So one pointing out is the company NeuroCat is there tomorrow speaking about AI to monitor and control AI.
Right.
So they use AI to hack AI systems to figure out where the weaknesses is, one step. And then they can give you improvements. Like we have anti-drone technology out there, AI-based it is. Honestly, we can only regulate AI if we use AI to regulation. We only can control data systems, huge data sets with AI.
Right.
So AI will be in a balance, but it will be like weapon system, like arms race. It will
So we will have like different AIs controlling other AIs on very different levels, as I understand it.
But what for example, I have bought during Corona my first property, 6,000 square meters of wood forest. And there's no AI, there's no internet. It's currently remote. So if you don't want to have anything with tech, take something remote and go outside. Because in the moment you have your smartphone there, AI, data, monitoring,
Right.
surveillance, everything is there.
Well, beware the development of 5G then. But up to now, you're quite AI free. I understand. Kai says, thank you for your enthusiastic talk, Fabian. What's your opinion on ethic AI, especially given the different cultural and ethical systems in the AI superpowers like China, the US, and Europe?
I think this is a good question, and this will be relevant for now. I think we here, building European AI solutions, we shape the system in our way, and then American AI will be different, and then Chinese will be different. And this will be more extreme over the years, and you will choose the system you want, which fits you best. For example, Facebook is heavily biased on nudity. We in Europe, we are relaxed with nudity. I mean, if we see nipples, we don't even react. I mean,
sometimes we expect to see nipples.
Yes, come on, it's Berlin. Yeah, half of the city is normally naked in the clubs. Used to. And if you're in the American system, it's excluding every sense of nudity. So the AI is already doing censoring. If you look at, for example, on Google, you can find racial and hatred on Google. You can Google it, but it would not be allowed in Germany normally under laws. So the AI systems are already having their biases with the data. And I think there will be a European Facebook in a couple of years and a European Google in a couple of years, because tech companies have to take responsibility for their actions, for the data, and for what they do. They have to. And government is forcing them finally. And then we will have, as I said, internet will break apart. So the ethics will flow into it. And this is a crucial part. I agree. Ethics will continue to play a heavy part. But with AI, we are forced to think, by the way, what are our ethical values? And how can we code them? How can we put them into code? Because I struggle a lot to define AI and to define a universal ethical frame set. I don't. I don't know.
It's very interesting that you said that we will have probably a European and then a US-American Facebook. Isn't it more probable that we will have AIs that exactly know, oh, he's from Europe, I know his browser history anyway, give him some nipples, and other people would probably be excluded if they were Christian and in Oklahoma. Will not this be the future?
I think the best algorithm out there is currently TikTok. TikTok is brilliant in learning what I like to watch based on the mood. It's brilliant. It's interesting. I had a lot of Trump rallies recently, like showing me Trump rallies, and I think, no, I don't want to see Trump, but I like the energy out there, like, hey, we do something. It was very interesting. The algorithm changed, and then, so I think the AI will give you the perfect bubble. Your whole life will be the perfect bubble because it will be perfectly customized to your needs, what you see. I think you really need to press a button to say, I want to see the rest of the world. Question for time management. You have a quote there.
Yes. We still have 5 minutes left. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm keeping time.
Good.
There is right, and that was also the last question from the audience. But I have a question because I know that I'm sure it's unbeknownst to you, but a lot of people don't read the agenda when they join the summit. So let's talk about the future of AI in the next 36 hours. What's there for all of us? What can we expect of today and tomorrow?
So I started being nervous myself with the groundwork. And after me, we have Hans Uskureit and Chris Boos, who will speak about where AI is currently too, how Europe is standing, what you can do with AI. It will be a political day, so we will continue, for example, with Secretary of State Dorothea Bär speaking about the German AI strategy. We have Vanessa Kann from the Bundesverband KI speaking about what works in Germany. We have on the other stage Ayosha and Mario, member of the parliament, speaking a little bit like, hey, is Germany a paper tiger? Is it really working? We have, for example, talks about Jesse at the end of the day, speaking about strategy, what are your possibilities? Adrian Locher speaking about business strategies here. Today it's about the big picture, about what do we need to do, how can we do it, and it's getting more detailed. For example, Danny Jeffries at the end of the day will speak about AI and vision. I really asked him, briefed him, hey, speak about a good picture out there. We have data and privacy. Marian Gläser speaking about AI, how can this be combined with privacy? So all these ethical and strategic and political topics for today and both stages. Tomorrow, it's all about applied AI. And we have use cases by the hottest AI companies out there. Really, we try to find the best German AI companies. We have large corporations like IBM, Huawei, talking about, and Siemens talking about how they do AI, and it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to see how they execute this, what offers they have. It can be very technical because we go speaking about edge, we speak about quantum machine. So tomorrow, a lot of technical talks, hopefully, but also about processes and execution. because we need to get AI out there. It needs to start, continue running and flowing.
Right. So thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'll be here for the whole 2 days. I hope you will too, because it's such an exciting lineup of speakers. Fabian, please make your way down the stairs slowly. Thank you very much. Give it up again for Fabian Westerheide, please.
Thank you. Enjoy.